Hey everybody out there, Chris.
And Mike here.
And welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. We are 16 episodes away from 200. The gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Next week will be at 15. That is the midway tens. That's the middle of the tens exactly.
Yeah. Getting there, you know, got to pump it up. And yeah.
Not too many books this week. However, next week's books, there will be only 9 books I will be reviewing. 2 of which are, oh God, what was I going to say? 2 of which are new or returning books, actually, I should say. Both of them are returning books that I dropped. Now I'm going to try out again. And I believe you have 1. So really I have 8 books. 1 or 2?
I think 2.
I think 2 also.
Yeah, but we'll wait for the comics when they...
Yeah, we'll see when they come out.
Yeah.
But it is a 5-week month, so it's kind of known that 1 week is the shortest or the smallest weekend. Honestly, it is next week. However, digital-wise, I have approximately another 5 or 6 books that I am reading, and I'll be reviewing those in written format on Comic Related. I'll be starting my digital comic reviews on the week of the 15th. I actually did read 1 book that's coming out next week. Like, not this one. No, it is, yeah, the week of the 15th. Yeah, next week. That I got a while in advance. And man, oh man, it's based off a video game. I don't want to spoil what it is. The review should be up today, Monday, on Comic Related, sometime during today. So if you want, keep an eye on Comic Related, and you'll see my 1 comic review on that book. But it was a doozy, and definitely something you guys will probably want to check out this coming Wednesday. But the books that we are talking about in this episode were released the 2nd week of May, May 8th. Thank you. 2013. Only 1 book for the indies this week. We actually have 2 books from the previous week here also. But first off, we have Mega Man issue 25, part 4 of 12. This is the end of Act 1. There are 3 acts, or 3, whatever they're calling it, in the Mega Man Sonic Worlds Collide. So this ends the beginning. So it starts off with, first of all, let's show the wonderful gate cover with Sonic versus Mega Man. Now, the comics kicks off right where the last one left off. Sonic is now in Mega Man's world, and it's Sonic versus Mega Man, only this time Rush, Tango, Eddie, and Beat are there as well. However, halfway through the fight, Mega Man and Sonic start to realize, wait a minute, you kidnapped my friends. I didn't kidnap your friends. You stole a gem. I didn't steal a gem. So
that's all coming together.
And then Dr. Eggman and Wily figure out, hey, wait a minute, something bad's going on here. What's going on? They're starting to figure it out. They tell Tails Man to attack, and he does. However, thanks to the combined forces of Mega Man and Sonic, Tails is finally free from the clutches of Dr. Wily and Eggman. However, a little bit after, it turns out that the Dr. Light is actually kidnapped by Dr. Wily and Eggman, and now it's up to Mega Man to save him. So Mega Man and Sonic and Proto Man and Rush and Tails, love this epic pose right here, decide to go after them, and they enter the Skull Egg Zone. This is the end of Act 1. Act 2 begins next week.
Yeah, to me, I thought that the team up of Mega Man and Sonic was going to be in the next issue because of the fight, but I mean, I'm glad that they teamed up because we all knew eventually they were going to team up, but Skull Egg Zone, I can't wait to see what lies in stores for our heroes next week.
Oh yeah, it's going to be huge.
Something.
This is one of those stories where you kind of can tell where it's going. You know, it went from a fight, the first act, now we're going into the second act, and it's the team up. And then the third act is going to be the grand finale, the ending, so to speak, of this Worlds Collide. And how will it end, we don't know. Free Comic Book Day, if you, like myself and Mike, did not buy the issue before the Worlds Collide for both Mega Man and Sonic. You can get them both combined. Not the whole issue, but you get the part where the whole crossover began. The ending of the previous books before the Worlds Collide. You get the whole issue 0, so to speak, of the Worlds Collide crossover, which I like because I didn't want to go back and have to buy Sonic the Hedgehog 244 or 45. No, it was 244 because 45 was part of this.
Yeah, because in in-depth review, I was like, I know Sonic.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go back and buy Mega Man 23 just to see the last couple of pages that end up going into this series. So if you didn't want to do that, Free Comic Book Day did it for you. You can get your issue 0. It's the official issue 0, and you can pick whichever cover you want, whether it be Mega Man or Sonic. They didn't combine them this time. I'm sticking with the combined covers. I'm not picking a side, so I'm sticking with the standard covers for this. Really good. If you are a fan of either series, I would definitely recommend checking this series out. We are now going into Marvel. And to be honest, Marvel would be a lot smaller this week if I didn't get 2 books from last week. The first book I got from last week, I'm going to try delving into this one more time. I know I said I was dropping it. However, I've heard good things about this series, and the artist is jumping back and forth now between Eaglesham and Gillen, I believe. So the artwork will change every other issue, which could be a good or bad thing. Greg Land, not Gillen. Greg Land, which is a good thing or a bad thing depending on your preference. However, I'm talking about Iron Man issue number 9, the prelude to the origin of Tony Stark. And after the last issue, this continues right after the last issue, which is another thing that I don't like, stopping a story arc midway through. 451 is out there in the galaxy somewhere. We get a little cameo by the Guardians of the Galaxy, which really didn't have to be in there, I'll be honest with you. They have Iron Man talking to Star-Lord in the very beginning of the book. And it's literally 1 page, probably trying to push the whole, you know, don't forget Iron Man's in the Guardians of the Galaxy. So Tony Stark hires Death Head. Yes, Death Head. Believe it or not, that's his name. Death's Head. To go with him and find 451. And basically apprehend him and leave him, you know, he's like, do we let him run or do we kill him? He's like, we kill him. He wants basically 451 to pay for his crime. So they find out where he is, they sneak around, he's coming down a corridor, they're about to attack, and then 451, it turns out, had hired Death's Head before Tony Stark, and actually is able to control Tony Stark's armor, and we don't know how that's possible, but he is. So Death's Head basically didn't turn on Tony Stark, he just basically was working for 451 all along. He leaves, and leaves Tony Stark there with 451, and 451 has control over the armor, so basically he has control over what's going on with Tony Stark's body. However, he has a film to show Tony Stark, and this is what's leading into the origin. Turns out there's a film with Tony Stark's father. A message left for Tony Stark.
An Iron Man 2 movie? Because it looks...
Sort of.
Almost sort of, yeah.
Except Tony Stark's dad is with, or sitting next to, 451.
Wow.
So apparently 451 was in the past, and he's like, this is not a ridiculous plan, Mr. Stark, just a long one. So in other words, 451 was around for a very long time and was at the basic beginning of Tony Stark's life. And how is he involved in Iron Man, or how is he intertwined with Tony Stark's life? We're going to find out in this miniseries. And to be honest, I wasn't happy with that Stark 5 that's going to be showing up in issue number 11, and I don't know how I'm going to, whether I'm going to like that so much or not, but this issue kind of was a bit better than what's been going on in the Iron Man series. I'm going to stick it out a little bit more and see what's happening. I'll be honest though, if the Secret Origin takes a turn for the stupid, I'm just going to end up dropping it halfway through. That's just my opinion. I leave Iron Man up to you guys, because I know everybody I tell I enjoyed the issue, everybody hates Iron Man now apparently, so I'm just going to keep my I liked this issue. I thought it was interesting. It was a good prelude. Now we're going to see what the whole past of Tony Stark is, the big revolutionary thing. And with the Iron Man 3 movie out, that's why they're doing this, and that's why they're doing the next set of books I'm going to be talking about. However, we'll see where it goes. This is going to be one of those groundbreaking issues. They're advertising it everywhere. Whenever they do that, that means it impacts a character greatly. So, another book that came out last week is Iron Man 258.1. This took place between, I believe what Mike Spivey said is Armor Wars 2. I did not read Iron Man back in the days, so I have no idea what's being referenced at times. However, the artwork and the story, it's Iron Man on Earth, you know, doing what he does best. And there are references, like I said, to the Iron Man Wars, I think number 2. And you do get a free digital download. It's a $3.99 book. The artist and the writer actually are from the series from back in when this was officially going on. So Tony Stark is back, and there's some type of a computer program which is his evil, like, doppelganger, so to speak, in computer form. And also Justin, not Justine, Justin Hammer is also vying against Iron Man. So this kind of ends with Iron Man talking about, there's computers that are going after, that are attacking him, and he wants to know why all this is going on. That was this issue. I sped read through this because this week, I enjoyed the artwork in this though. I left things out also so you guys will check it out. It's 258.2. That was 258.1.
Why are they doing all the points?
I don't know, but there's 2 more points. They're skipping next week. Then in 2 weeks we get 258.3 and 258.4 is the huge conclusion.
Wow.
So the doppelganger on the computer basically all of a sudden becomes full-fledged Tony Stark, and he's like, Iron Man just killed my ex-employee in front of my eyes. He's an enemy. He's no longer working for me. The world doesn't know Iron Man is Tony Stark at this time. So now he's basic enemy number 1 on the police scout. Basically, he's a public enemy to the police now. Yeah. And anytime he comes into contact with computers, this program takes over and attacks him. So he has to stay out of computer link. He can't use his armor either because this program can hack into him. So he reverts to walkie-talkies and staying out of contact with anybody. He instructs Cody Rhodes.
Oh, that's like a WWE name.
Not Cody Rhodes. Why did I say Cody Rhodes? It's you're right. I'm stupid.
Yeah, I was about to say. Wait a minute. That's
Jim Rhodes.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Why did I say Cody Rhodes? See, this is why I can't live with this boy.
Excuse me, you. Just continue.
To a secret bunker to figure out what's going on, hack in, and figure out how to fight this computer program or what exactly its plans are. And there's another character in here I'm not going to spoil too much on, but it is a hint towards a future character. Who is actually working for Justin Hammer as well. Iron Man actually tries to save her, and it doesn't go so well. I'll give you guys this hint. The mask at the bottom tells all. So basically, all the targets that the AI, or the, where was it? They're calling it the Entity. The Entity has only 3 important targets. Tony Stark is number 1 prime, not target. What was it? It's on its hit list of 3 things that threaten it. Tony Stark was the first. Doc Sondheim was the second, and the third was Justin Hammer. So basically, now Iron Man has to protect the person that's basically that's against him. I believe. I didn't read Iron Man.
That makes sense.
To be honest, I'm just enjoying the fact that it's a classic Iron Man comic. I may not know what's going on at times or what's being referenced at times, but I'm really liking it. Remember, guys, also that I had to rush through a lot of comics this week. It's been a very busy week for me, so tried to get through as many of these as I could. I will be talking more about these on the related recap, but I'll save that. I'll talk about that at the end of this episode. Next up, like Kevin, I agree with Deadpool issue number 9.
Shark Week.
Deadpool is basically trying to get Preston out of his body. From the last issue, he's knocked out, and Agent Preston goes into his subconscious a little bit further, and she starts seeing things that, she doesn't want to. And there's this dark corner in Deadpool's head, and she's curious about it, but he's like, stay out of there. Don't go anywhere. Stay, get out of this room. This is my personal thing. And she actually gives him his space. You got Michael and Benjamin Franklin driving around in an ice cream truck. He basically, the rest of the issue is about figuring out a way to get Michael
that one.
to safety, yeah. So he gets him locked up by doing public nudity. Go figure. And they're still trying to figure out for the rest of the issue how to get Agent Preston out of Deadpool's body while Deadpool goes for his next target, who made a deal with the devil, and now basically the devil's looking for his due, or at least what's his name is Vetus is looking to collect. And this guy is a good guy. He has basically like Aquaman's powers. He can breathe underwater, and he can summon fish and talk to fish and whatnot. And he's a good guy. He has the sharks attack Deadpool, but then he chases them away and tries to save Deadpool, and in the end Deadpool ends up killing him anyway.
Wow.
And he doesn't like it, however, at the same time he still did it. And the end of the issue, as was said in the in-depth review Kevin did on Dark Avenger Inc., basically, it looks like Deadpool kills Michael. We'll find out in the next issue if that's legitimate, because he wants Michael to face off against Dormammu, etc., etc. I love the cover, don't get me wrong. Anything that involves sharks, I really like covers when it comes to sharks. But Deadpool just seems like, it's great in small doses. I was talking to Mike Spiderslayer about this, but when it comes to an ongoing series, after a while, it starts to wear thin. I mean, the first story arc with the presidents, Tony Moore's art, was awesome.
Definitely.
But this follow-up story, I don't know, it's just not holding me as much as the story before it. So I'm going to give it one more issue just to see what happens to Michael and what this whole plan Deadpool's, convoluting in his head is. But in his convoluted head that he's coming up with. But after that, I guess the next issue is going to determine whether I stick around with Deadpool or not.
We'll see as the weeks go by.
Next up, Wolverine issue number 3. Wolverine was shot in the last issue, and apparently, he's the only one that saw the Watcher, because Nick Fury Jr. is talking about Protocol and S.H.I.E.L.D., and Wolverine's trying to tell him for an entire page about the Watcher. I just saw the Watcher. He warns people. Only this time I'm the only one that saw him. And, he's like, I don't know who the Watcher is. He's not in our archives. And then it turns out they're in front of a bar. And Nick Fury's kind of like, what is this place? This is just a regular bar. And that's when Wolverine introduces all these people that he works with. He was actually brought there by Detective Chico? C-H-I... Chico?
Yeah, Chico.
And he's introducing all these people, and one guy, I love how he's like, this is Marcus H. Harold. And the guy interrupts him and says, writes comics, okay? Please move on. Actually, that made me double take, just to look back and see if he was actually one of the writers on this book, and he wasn't, but it was funny how I actually went to the very beginning of the book to see if that was true or not. So they take the bullet out of Wolverine, and Nick Fury's worried it's a bomb, it's something, so they contain it, they examine it, it's nothing but a regular bullet. Nothing at all. Completely empty. So Wolverine gets recostumed up, and while they're examining the bullet, it turns out Nick Fury Jr., or they call him Nick Fury, finds out where the gun
Why are they
landed.
calling Nick Fury Jr.? I mean,
They don't. They call him Nick Fury. They take the Jr. off because the original Nick Fury, his dad, is gone now for a while.
Right, so it should just be Nick Fury.
So they find out where the gun is. Wolverine and Nick Fury, well, Wolverine goes in. Nick Fury stays outside and plays. If anybody escapes, you know, he'll be out there waiting. And Wolverine gets attacked at first by these mecha suit guys who go gun first, you know, shoot first, ask questions later. Wolverine's trying to tell them he's not the enemy. Once again, Wolverine loses his shirt and mask. This is the 3rd issue and the 3rd time this has happened now. At least this time he kept his pants.
Oh, thank God for that.
I feel very bad for Wolverine in this series. He hasn't had his shirt on for an entire issue yet.
Well, maybe they want to show that he's like
shirtless.
That, I guess.
He's shirtless? Yeah. So then Wolverine finally confronts the people that are working with the gun, and he finds out that there's a, oh, what was it? Like a container being driven off in a truck. Nick Fury shows up, tries to stop the container from getting away. However, it gets taken away by a stealth bird. Once again, Wolverine, Nick Fury get cut short. And I'm not gonna spoil the last page, but it turns out, let's just say a bunch of scientists. That's all I'm gonna say. Why is the Watcher there? Gee, I wonder if it has anything to do with the whole fact of Wolverine losing his healing factor soon.
Well, it could be.
I don't know. Wolverine hasn't kept his shirt on for one entire issue yet. Not yet. And that's kind of
creepy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, stop making the man put a shirt on if you're gonna burn it off of him in the next couple of pages.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna put a shirt on. Oh, it's gonna rip anyway. Maybe it's made of plastic where it rips easily. You know.
Out of the 2 Wolverine books, this is my 2nd favorite. It just seems like every time Wolverine gets close enough to this gun or whatever's going on, it escapes his grasp, and he goes back on the hunt again. The next issue is the last part to the hunt. Let's see where this goes. I'm probably going to end up dropping this when Wolverine loses his healing factor and just sticking to Savage Wolverine, because any story where Wolverine loses his healing factor, that kind of, it depends how many issues long that story arc's going to be. But anyway, next up is Thor, God of Thunder, God Bomb Part 2, issue number 8. Now, now the story's finally picking up. Young Thor is a slave. Old Thor and present, or future Thor and present Thor, are sailing to attack Gore.
So wait, which is the real Thor?
All of them are. The young Thor is from the past, our Thor is from the present, and then the old Thor is the future Thor when where this is taking place.
Oh, okay.
So young Thor actually has a conversation with Gore's son, and his son believes just like him that the world would benefit better without gods, and gods need to be destroyed. And young Thor is trying to explain to him, you gotta understand, your father's not exactly human anymore either. He's more god. What he's trying to say is basically he's a god too. And Gore doesn't show up in this issue except for one panel, right here. That's it. There is no Gore in this issue. Thor does, however, cause a bit of a ruckus in the beginning of the issue, saying he's a slave to no man, and actually starts to fight back against Gore's hounds, and he gets stopped by this woman, and it turns out these 3 women are his, spoiler alert, granddaughters.
Granddaughters.
I love how when he actually reveals himself later on while they're having a meeting about destroying the God Bomb, he says, they call me Thor, and one of the women goes, Thor? Oh my heavens, I've been having impure thoughts about my grandfather. And they don't believe him at first, but then they do, finally, because they realize that Gore is able to travel through time. They have this bomb of their own, so to speak, that it's a suicide mission. They need to throw that into the God Bomb and it'll destroy the bomb. Young Thor, arrogant as he is, somehow summons up a storm and throws their bomb at the God Bomb, and You don't exactly find out how, but he ends up on the ship. Because the ship shows up close to where the God Bomb is. But he ends up on the ship with present Thor and past and future Thor. It's not really explained. All you see is his hand touch the boat. And then he pulls himself up. Like, okay. I love how he, just like present Thor, past Thor goes to future Thor, Father, is that you? And he goes, Boar's bones, are you certain there isn't any ale left? And then finally, you get this epic pose at the end. The time for talk is over. Let's let our hammers do all the talking. This is what we've been waiting for. At least I've been waiting for since the first couple of issues. Finally, the three Thors are together, and now they're going after Gore. And we are at part 2 of 5. So there's still 3 more issues to go. A lot can happen in 3 issues. But finally, it's picking up. I'm finally happy I held on to Thor. There's a lot of dialogue, once again, a lot of reading the artwork. There's still those kind of faces at times. However, it's really good. Jason Aaron knows how to tell a good story. A very stretched out story, but a very good story when it comes to Thor. Really good, really enjoyable. And finally this week we have the Uncanny Avengers issue number 8. Sunspot is still alive. As a matter of fact, as the space station comes crashing down towards Earth, Thor once again is left with a decision to figure out how he's going to destroy the space station. He's like, I could blow it into pieces and only thousands will be hurt, or just let it crash and then millions will get hurt. And then Sunspot just shows up and disintegrates the entire space station. We learn more about the Apocalypse twins. I want to give you their names the right way. And of course they're not going to have it at the very beginning. I know they have Jabberjorn. Let me go to the middle. They actually say their names towards the middle of the book. This does connect a lot to the events that happen in Uncanny X-Force. It connects a lot to Archangel, and when they were when Archangel became the new Apocalypse, and how Wolverine tried to kill Kid Apocalypse, who is now in the clone of Kid Apocalypse is in the Wolverine Jean Grey School of Higher Learning.
Wow.
As Kid Omega. Was it Kid Omega? I believe that's what they call him. I forget. Here we go.
Artwork looks really good.
Eamon and Uriel.
Okay.
And this connects a lot to what happened in the Uncanny X-Force book. There's references to it on these 2 pages, as a matter of fact. And when we come back, we will continue. And I'm going to complain about these covers when we come back also, and I'll explain why when we get there. Alright guys, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages from our commercial people. See you in a couple of seconds, guys. And we're back, and the first thing I would like to mention, and I made note of this while we were switching in between commercial breaks, is anybody else having this problem with their covers? Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, I know you have, because I've seen your fingerprints on yours. I have a minor complaint, and this happens only with my Marvel comic books lately. Is anybody else having problems with the ink on their Marvel comics? Because I noticed in almost every single Marvel issue I have now, if I don't use a cover to hold the issue while I'm holding it in my hand, the ink starts to melt off into my fingers.
That's why they should invent comic gloves, where if they have gloves that you can't, gloves that can't get on the comics. So in this issue, it references a lot to the previous issue with Thor and Uncanny X-Force. If you did not read Uncanny X-Force, will this hurt anything, any
thing about this story? No, because everything that needs to be explained is kind of explained through the Apocalypse twins. Captain America, we finally get to see him again. It turns out he was dropped in quote-unquote enemy territory, and now he's on a scramble for his life. And somebody actually gets into contact with him. We don't know who at this time, but this person says, I'm sorry about your arm, but discretion is in our meeting was mandatory. Should they discover I've contacted you, there will be no hope to save the world. And the Apocalypse twins actually are explaining about Jabberjorn to Thor, and about the Throne of Apocalypse, and how they're the children of Archangel. And Thor doesn't believe them at first, and they're like, your companion is an executioner of children, and a craven betrayer of his closest friend, basically talking about Archangel. And Thor doesn't believe him, and this is what's going to cause a huge rift in the Uncanny Avengers, and this is what I figured was going to happen with this team. And they actually make mention of it here. If not for Kang's interference and what happened in Uncanny X-Force with Archangel, and what happened with oh, they made mention of a lot of things actually. What happened with AVX, what happened with Cyclops, what happened with a lot of the events that involved the X-Men actually. If not for all these events that led to this, including what happened with Thor in 2 issues back, this would not have happened. And now basically, because of all these events and Kang's interference, if they're basically saying if the Uncanny Avengers were to work together and to stick together, you know, humans and mutants working together worked, then the Apocalypse twins would have no chance. But because of all this stuff that's happened, there's going to be a rift in between the team that's going to cause trouble, which we all saw coming because of Rogue, and Wasp now apparently is against what's going on with the X-Men.
Wow, really? Wasp?
She's showing little...
I thought she was with them.
She is, but she's showing a little bit like when Rogue pulls Wolverine aside to say what's going on, you know, what happened with Archangel. He's like, I'll explain it to you another time, not right now. You trust me? She's like, yes. And he's like, promise me no more killing. We won't kill anybody, that we're all going to come out of this. And she's like, yeah, I promise. And then Wasp shows up and she's like, oh, you're doing one of your X-Men things? But whatever. Anyway, Alex wants you at the cockpit. So you can see that there are rifts between teammates. You know, Rogue doesn't like Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is more of an Avenger. Wasp now doesn't trust any of the X-Men on the team. It's a team that's basically not getting along too well, and they're going to have to if they're going to beat the Apocalypse twins. And that's it for Marvel. Let's go into DC. First off this week, Smallville, issue number 13. The return of Booster Gold. More references to previous seasons of Smallville are in here, involving Zod, the Kryptonians that were free from that orb, the cloned Kryptonians. And it all takes place, as the cover shows, in the Legion's time, the 31st century. And I love how Clark actually makes mention to Booster. He's like, you know, you have a Legion ring, but you're from the 25th century. How are you from the 25th century and have a Legion ring when the Legion of Superheroes didn't happen until the 31st century? He's like, a magician never tells his secrets. And apparently, Booster actually goes to Superman in the present. I skipped to the future. Let's go back a bit into the, a little bit back to the beginning of the story, where Booster's like, do you know what Legion Protocol 6 is? And he's like, I have no clue, never heard of it. And the ring basically teleports them to the 31st century, and things don't look too hot for Earth. Later on, they meet up with Brainiac 5 and Gar, Lightning Lad, who explain to Clark that New Krypton kind of caused a war between Earth and themselves, and now basically aliens aren't so welcomed on Earth anymore. So now it's up to Clark to figure out what's going on. There's an explanation, more flashbacks, of course. And we get to see a glimpse of Earthman. For those of you that have read the Legion of Superheroes before, you know Earthman was against aliens. He believed Earth was for humans only. And there's a prisoner in the Legion's time. And when Superman finds out, he goes to save her, and actually Earthman was prepared for Superman. He had red sunlight bullets, red sunlight concussion bombs.
That's Iron Man.
So it turns out the big prisoner was Supergirl.
Oh, I thought you weren't gonna tell, but okay.
Well, this is Smallville. This doesn't take place in the regular DC universe, and I did leave a whole bunch of dialogue and stuff out, so there's still a lot that can be read.
True.
So,
Wow.
it's Supergirl. How did she end up in the future? What's going on? We'll find out next month in the book, or you can read along every week.
That's twice
one
already.
chapter at a time. Yeah.
Because she got trapped in the future once before in Smallville as well.
Mm-hmm. Or you can read along, like I was saying, one chapter a week for the 5 weeks digitally. I choose to wait for the book. So for me, I'll be waiting the 5 weeks until next month. Looking forward to this series starting up next month, as a matter of fact. Lar Fleas. I'm surprised I didn't call it the Orange Lantern series, but Lar Fleas is good enough for me too. Highly recommend this for any Smallville fan. Definite plus. I wish this would have happened on TV, but I guess we'll have to settle for comic form. I mean, if Buffy fans have to settle for the comic book form, we'll settle for a Smallville comic book form, as long as Smallville is still going on in some shape or form. I remember when they did the Smallville comic while Smallville was on the air?
Yeah, like the animated 3D.
Yeah, like
part.
little stories that happened in between
Yeah.
the seasons. That didn't make it. That made it to like 8 issues and then they canceled it. This actually has potential now because the series is off TV. So now it's continuing the series in comic form, which is a lot better. Before we get into this, I want to get into this book actually. Green Lantern Corps issue 20. I highly recommend you guys not to read this until you read Green Lantern 20, because in the first couple of pages it spoils what happened in Green Lantern issue number 20. I mean, we all knew all the Green Lanterns are going to make it out okay, especially Hal. I mean, we've seen the solicitations for July and August. We know everybody's fine and alive, at least. We don't know anything about what happens to the Guardians or the First Lantern. One thing they don't mention is what happens to the First Lantern in this book. I will say that, but the fate of the Guardians and the fate of the Lantern Corps is mentioned in the beginning of this book.
Mm-hmm.
What, you're waiting for me to tell you? I'm not telling you, sorry. Not happening. When I review Green Lantern issue 20, which will be coming out, I guess, in 2 weeks, because it's not coming out next week, then I'll make mention of stuff that happened in this book. Not going to spoil it for you guys. If you really want a spoiler that bad, you can buy the book. Selak is Freed, I will say that, by Guy Gardner and Kilowog. And the main focus of this book, skipping over the spoilers, I mean, there is a scene with Fatality and John, but the main focus of the book is Guy Gardner, and he finds out that the Guardians sent XR, or XAR, to, for those of you that remember a couple issues back, they sent Zar to screw with Guy Gardner's mission, and basically, now that well, I can't spoil that, but basically Zar's off his leash now from the Guardians, and Guy Gardner races towards Earth to stop him, and does, in a beautiful splash page, by the way.
You see? Oh, wow.
And the rest of the issue is Guy Gardner catching up with his family, you know, having family time and spending time on Earth, you know, just relaxing, you know, also still being a Green Lantern, but staying on Earth. But at the end of the issue, you see Guy looking towards the stars, and his brother and sister are like, dude, oh, actually his father says, he has restless guy syndrome. His mind ain't in the game. His mind is on the stars. And they're like, we understand. Go. Guess the bird's gotta fly. So fly. And they're like, go and be the best Green Lantern you can be. And that's how the issue kind of ends. However, Guy Gardner probably in the next issue will be departing the Green Lantern Corps book, which is going to, I believe, cause a bit of a decline in sales with the Green Lantern Corps book, because he'll be in the Red Lanterns book, which is going to cause a rise in the sales for the Red Lanterns book. This book was really good. Does have spoilers in it towards certain events that happen in Green Lantern 20, so I would advise holding off on reading this until you read Green Lantern 20. However, if you want to skip the beginning part of this issue and just go to the end and read about Guy Gardner, then go ahead. But once again, I leave it up to you. Will I be sticking with this series when John Stewart takes over the helm, you know, the main focus of this book? If Kilowog sticks around with John Stewart and or the stories keep me gripped, absolutely. After this series, the connection between the Green Lantern books is going to be minuscule to non-existent, so you won't have to be buying all the Green Lantern books anymore, so we'll see what happens after this issue. Now, next up is Superboy issue number 20. If you've been reading Superman, Hive is going after Superman. Well, in this issue, the Hive is going after, now, Superboy. Superboy meets up with... Well, first of all, I would like to make mention of actually another thing. I was going to make mention of 2 things, but now I'm going to make mention of 3 things. First off, the art changes a lot in this book. Why? Because there are 4 artists. R.B. Silva, Rob Lean, Kenneth Rockeford, and finally Chris Cross. I'm guessing in that order of the book. So you start off with this artwork, and then a couple of pages down, the artwork changes to this artwork. Another couple of pages in again, changes to this artwork, and then we conclude. I believe we did 1. That's 1.
You did 3.
Yeah, I think the very beginning is, yeah, and then the very beginning is a different artist.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but you could tell you could see the artwork change as you're reading the book. Just a bit annoying. A bit annoying because the first artist, it starts off in the future, so to speak. Superboy is stripped of his powers, and we don't know why yet. We just see him and Krypto out cold. Then jumps to a couple of days before, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say how far back. And it goes into different artwork. I'm not a fan of this artwork in the very beginning of the book, and I was worried that this was going to kind of hinder the book. Superboy gets approached by this guy, we don't know who it is, wearing a mask and a hat. At this time, we don't know who it is. And he says, I know where you really come from. And Superboy takes that as like a threat. And he attacks this guy. But then Superboy gets attacked by this guy who's called Dreadnought.
Dreadnought?
And
I'm sorry, that's funny.
I want to call him a kid. He looks like a kid, but towards the end of the book, they draw him like an old man. So this guy is working to try to help Superboy. He claims he escaped from Hive. And he wants to work with Superboy and try to help him, and together they can take down the Hive. So he tells Superboy to fight Dreadnought while he figures out where somebody else is, and that's Siphon. It turns out Dreadnought, the more Superboy fights, takes his powers, and Scion ends up taking his psychic powers away. So little bits at a time, Superboy is being drained, and this person, who we don't know who his name is at this time, is able to basically jump into an astral plane, is what it looks like to me, and that's how we actually find Scion. And Superboy takes out Dreadnought and then Scion, both at once. And this is where this guy, we don't know what his name is yet, says, working together, we could take down the Hive. We could take the fight to them. What do you say? He's like, yes. We then go into, like, I guess, the 31st century, a science, a temporal hidden base in the 31st century science cop Jolie lore. And things start disappearing, and she's like, Superboy, what did you do? And it's like, what? What do you mean, Superboy, what did you do? What did Superboy do that's changing the future? That was kind of like, unless it's because I haven't been reading the series. Maybe
I was just about to say that, actually.
That's the only explanation I could come up with, is because I wasn't reading this book from the beginning.
When people say, like, what have you done?
Yeah, apparently Superboy has some connection to the future, I guess. So that's why things are changing now. Artwork, this I believe is from Red Hood and the Outlaws, as a matter of fact. So some of the artwork was really good. The beginning artwork wasn't so good, and the ending was pretty okay, but the beginning of the book, this short guy looked like a kid. Now, in the end of the book, he looks like an old man, so I can't tell you. I remember seeing the solicit that he's working with somebody, but we don't see who, and we don't know how Superboy and Crypto end up losing their powers, but I guess we'll see in the next couple of issues how that happens, because it says here, the coming of decay. So we'll find out as the series continues. So basically this is going to be conjoining with Superman once again, where Superman's going up against the Hive, and Superboy as well is going up against the Hive. Supergirl is not. Supergirl is going off in her own stories right now. So it looks like the Superboy and Superman series once again are going to somehow, without completely minorly cross over with each other, because the Hive is basically targeting Superboy and Superman. So that's going to be interesting. So Superboy, glad I started reading it again. Next book is yours.
Yes, Justice League of America issue number 3, and this is the first time I'm reviewing a Justice League comic book from DC. And this is a gatefold cover.
That was supposed to come out last month.
Yeah, of Who's a Train and Miss, and it says, Catwoman, do not let this gatefold cover fool you.
They tried that a few times. Is all
I am saying. So meanwhile, we start off with Stargirl and Director Waller. I hate Director Waller in this comic
book. Who doesn't hate Amanda Waller?
I just hate her. Anyway, she says something to Stargirl. If you want to check out what it was about, just check out my in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc. Colonel Trevor is in a war with the Justice League people who are robots, actually.
But they don't know they're robots until
they don't know that until that happens.
I'm really liking Vibe.
Yeah, Vibe. Well, this is the artwork, which is great artwork, actually. So Vibe makes an appearance, and things don't work out too well for him. And there's also a Catwoman. Katano doesn't trust Catwoman because of the sword that says so, and there's like a whole big thing of that. So Colonel Trevor is sending the Justice League of America on a mission where Catwoman gets caught with Green Arrow, and this is the same Green Arrow character I'm reading in the Green Arrow comic books, and he thinks Catwoman was betraying them, but Hawkman knocks some sense into him, saying that this is all just, it's an important mission, and it's not what you think it is. So meanwhile, Catwoman gets, she meets up with Signal Man Blockbuster, and saying that I think I'm in the next issue of the Secrets of the Society. So things may look either good or bad for Catwoman, but we don't know yet.
The secondary story I skipped.
Yeah, the second story is just to sum it up. John Jones sees the vision of Catwoman, and then we go into his own origin.
That I like. That I found
yeah, the origin story here. The artwork was good there too, and then it just ends up with Catwoman saying, "Let's just not do that again."
Yeah,
the whole vision thing, because it was going back to her childhood life and all that stuff. But
I enjoyed this issue a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a great issue, and
Jeff Johns is really writing a good Justice League book.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
Of America,
so,
Justice League of America.
Yeah, but you guys should pick it up and see that. But just remember, don't let the cover fool you.
No,
is all I'm saying.
But any of the gatefold covers were kind of a little bit misleading.
Some of them were, but others were like
dead on.
Dead on. Essentially.
That's why you didn't know which ones were dead on and which ones were kind of twisting things around.
But they should be accurate. I mean, with their comics, you know.
Why?
Well, just to,
Wouldn't I get you to read it if you were a Catwoman fan?
Well, yeah, but then still, you know, like saying, but it was all for them. Just get to your next comic book.
There are actually 2 more comics. Both are Batman. Batman and Red Hood and Batman, issue number 20. I bring both of them up at the same time because it's Batman and 2 completely separate personalities. I'm going to start with Batman and Red Hood because Batman issue 20 concludes the Clayface, and this is continuing Batman's quest to bring his son Damian back from the dead. He gets a visit from Carrie Kelly, who actually brings the money back because she didn't finish her lessons. And Bruce actually said, why was Damian taking acting lessons in the first place? And he said he wanted to see what it was like being someone else. And yeah, so basically Bruce is covering up Damian's death with that he's studying abroad. traveling the world, and he'll call her in a couple of days maybe. Turns out her and Alfred have a moment, and she's going to be taking care of Titus. So she's going to be sticking around the Batman and whatever series for a bit. So he hires her to take care of him, how many times? Twice or 3 times a week. Gas and food is included. She's happy. She says, I'll take it, but what about Mr. Grumpy over there? He's like, don't worry, his bark's worse than his bite. Later in the Batcave, Bruce and Jason actually they get closer again, and Bruce has explained to him about this group of terrorists that actually targeted Damian at one time. And they're in, I forgot where, Ethiopia, and he's looking to go take them down. He's like, what is it? He's like, it's time to show these bastards, I'm surprised they actually let that word pass, that targeting a 10-year-old puts a bullseye on themselves, and that killing isn't much of a living. And Jason's like, you asking me to go with you? He's like, yes, I am. He's like, why? And he's like, because I'm seeing red. And he's holding the Red Hood's mask. So we get to see Jason Todd and Batman teaming up once again, the dynamic duo of old, back together again, taking down some.
Just as someone else.
Yeah, as Red Hood.
That's what I meant.
Taking out some baddies, so to speak. Then, thinking that this was all like building up trust between Red Hood, between Jason and Batman again. Jason believes this is all about building up faith and trust in each of both of them again. And he's finally standing by Batman's side. He's like, you know what, I'm glad you finally trust me again. I'm glad we actually got this all settled. Then Batman takes him to the very spot where he died. And this is where the story takes a turn for the worst. Just like at the end of the last issue with Red Robin, Batman's like, I thought taking you back here would remind you of, would bring back memories of how you came back to life. And Jason's like, do you ever think this is something I don't want to remember? You know, I don't want to think about I don't want the horrific memories to come back to me. He's like, did you ever think this was the worst day of my life and I don't want to come back to this point? And Batman all of a sudden twists and turns around completely, and he's like completely crazy. He's like, if you cared about me, what I've lost, you'd want to dredge up these memories so I could bring my son back. You can give me the greatest gift of all and help me figure out how to bring Damian back. I want to see my son grow up, damn it. And he's like, what about me? I died. Did you try to bring me back to life? No. Why are you trying to bring Damian back? And it's like, well, he's my son. So I love how in the end Jason gets so pissed off. He's like, I was ready to stand by your side and you threw that all away. And basically Batman doesn't even fight back. Bruce just takes the beating from Jason, and Jason just drives off the end saying, you know what? I'm done. I'm taking the car and goodbye. So as much as we think Batman's finally, you know, okay again, he's working with Jason trying to build the family back up. The end of this issue, he goes right back to the twisted ways he was at the end of the last issue with Batman and Red Robin, where he was trying to figure out about Frankenstein. This time he's trying to get Jason to remember how he came back from the dead to bring Damian back. So Batman's losing it in this series. He's completely Looney Toony at the end of this issue, once again.
I thought you were going to say Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Or that works too.
Yeah, but he's causing rifts, not only with himself and Red Robin now, but with himself and Red Hood again. And you know, after this whole ordeal, for years, Batman and Red Hood have been at odds with each other. Finally, Jason is willing to stand by Batman again, rejoin the Bat family. And Bruce just screws that entire relationship up again. Why? Because he's lost his cool again, and he's still trying to bring Damian back from the dead. I bring this up here. Remember, in this issue, Batman is anything but okay. He's losing himself again, just like he lost himself with Jason. However, Batman issue 20, Bruce Wayne gets his DNA taken by Clayface, and Clayface still doesn't know Bruce Wayne is Batman yet. He traps Batman in this compactor with Lucas Fox, who is still alive also, and they're trapped. The compactor goes on, and they're as good as toast. This is Star Wars Episode 4 all over again. Until Lucas Fox finds a concept suit that he was putting together for Batman, and Bruce actually pilots it, and lo and behold, it looks almost identical to the Batman Beyond suit.
Yeah, it does, actually.
And Bruce is actually saying, you threw this away, why? And Lucas is like, because it's at least 20 years, and they bold that, before the thing is cost effective, and there are other reasons. I'll fill you in sometime. 20 years later, we have Batman Beyond. Get what's going on here? Yeah. So that was kind of a cool little incentive to Batman. Actually, in the Superboy comic, I do want to mention this. It was funny. Superboy's like, all this crap is happening to me. It must be a Wednesday, because comics come out on Wednesday. That was another funny thing I noticed this week in the comics. I laughed when I read that in Superboy. But anyway, Clayface is going around pretending to be Bruce Wayne. Batman finally fills in the police that it's not Bruce Wayne, that it's Clayface. There's a fight between Clayface and Batman for a bit. Clayface can figure out who people are, but copy them through touching their skin, through their DNA. He breaks Batman's mask and touches his skin, and he's like, you ready? Batman is Bruce Wayne. And the cops are all standing there going, what? What's going on? And in the background, Lucas Fox was working on something, and they end up trapping Clayface in a containment unit. And the only way for him to get out is if the original person, what was his name now? Basil Carlo actually says, actually verbally turns the casing off. So throughout the next few panels, Clayface is convinced that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and then Batman pulls off this secondary skin, so to speak. And he's like, oh, this was just a copy of Bruce Wayne's DNA. And of course, stop.
China.
And of course, we're having to jump into a third part. So Mike, just run over to the camera really quickly.
Okay.
We're going to hit a button and be right back in 2 seconds. So basically, I'm going to freeze in this pose, and you guys are going to be back in literally 1. There we go. So anyway, Clayface basically turns into Damian towards the end, saying, Bruce Wayne, it doesn't matter, so you're not Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is just like every other rich person. Doesn't even pay attention to his son. And Batman kind of loses it for a little bit. And then we get the Batcave with Alfred. And here's where this book and this book separated entities. Because at the end of this book, we have Bruce saying to Alfred, sorry, I went too far. The secondary story with Superman was really good as well. Ends really well. Gives you a real good setup for Batman, Superman. However, I won't be reading it because I am so not a fan of J.D.'s art. However, in this book, we have Bruce actually saying, Alfred, I'm not losing myself this time. Not like I did with Jason. I'm not ready to let him go. But Bruce is actually handling himself very well in this issue. He's like, I'm not ready to let Damian go, but I'm not going to lose myself. However, in this issue, he's completely losing himself. I mean, even the parts where Carrie Kelly's in the issue, you see Bruce, he's got like that 5 o'clock shadow. He's got where was that image?
Right there.
No, this image where he's like got like that shadowed face kind of look, and you see the 5 o'clock shadow coming in, and he's got like that stern kind of like, I'm not here, leave me alone, I wish to be left alone, and figure out how to bring my son back. However, in this issue, Alfred is sitting next to Bruce at the end of the issue, and they're reliving the last mission right before Damian dies. And Bruce cries, and it is a tearjerker moment, a very emotional moment. But Bruce has Alfred, and it looks like, okay, Batman's going to be okay. He's just mourning his son's death. But he's getting through it. He's not going to lose himself here. So Scott Snyder kind of writes Batman the way we all kind of figured he would be. He's hurt. He misses his son. His son is gone. However, in Batman and, written by Peter J. Tomasi, Bruce is a completely different person than he is in Batman. In this issue, he's hell-bent on figuring out how to get Damian back from the dead. hell-bent. And you know, actually in the last issue of Batman Incorporated, they have a picture of Batman. The cover is Batman versus the older clone of Damian with a character dressed in Damian's Robin suit watching on. So whereas in this book, Bruce is handling things okay. I mean, he's still depressed. He's missing his son. You know, I want my son back, whatever. This book, he's using people to figure out how to get Damian back, and he doesn't give a crap who he hurts. He hurt Frankenstein, he hurt Red Robin. This issue, he really destroyed his relationship with Jason Todd once again, just to try to get Damian back. He's losing it here. Here, I believe Batman's ready to jump off the deep end again, but in this issue, I'm like, okay, Bruce is going to hold tough. You know, he's going to hold strong, and he's going to get through this eventually. Which Batman do you like more? Do you like the one where he's hell-bent on figuring out how to bring Damian back, or are you content with the one where he's, you know, he's depressed, he misses his son, you know, he wishes Damian was still alive, but he doesn't want to go into that place where he was when Jason died? And to be honest, this issue is taking up, in the next issue, Batman 0 year starts. So the origin of Batman is starting. So we're going back in time in the Batman series. So Batman and Batman the Dark Knight and Detective Comics are the ones that are staying in the present for the next, figure, 5 or 6 months. This is going to take about a half a year to tell the Batman 0 year, because I know we went into August. Yeah, we're in August and we're still in the Batman 0 year. And August is about, what, we're in April, May, June, July, August. That's June, July, August. That's 3 months already down the line, and they're still in Batman 0 year. So it's going to be a while until Batman jumps back into the present again. So does this happen after this? Maybe. Maybe. But Batman's going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs again. He's losing himself. And my question is, what is going to bring Batman back from losing himself again? Because he is. In this series, Batman's losing it. He's losing it, and he's desperate to figure out a way to bring Damian back. Like I said, which Batman do you prefer? The one that's trying to cope with things and not lose it, or the one that's losing it and hurting the Bat family at every twist and turn of this series? Which one do you guys think is better? Which one portrays Batman better? I think Batman is a lot better than what Batman's doing in Batman End. Because in this series, I feel like Batman's one step away from going completely insane, sort of, at times. That, or he doesn't give a crap about anybody anymore except his son. And he's willing to hurt whoever, break whatever, do whatever to bring Damian back. And that's going to lead him down that road of losing himself that he doesn't want to go down in the Batman series. So that's the big conflict with Batman right now. He's losing himself in the Damian book that he used to be, you know, the Batman and Robin book, or the former Batman and Robin book. But in the Batman book, he's still holding tough. So this is the book that's going to continue the present, whereas this book is going into the past now. So I'm interested to seeing what Batman's going to do next. Next month is Batgirl, and the Lazarus Pit is mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting to see what Batman exactly is going to do next. How is Batman going to bring Damian? Is Batman going to bring Damian back? I don't think Damian's coming back. Personal opinion, they killed Superboy and kept him dead for almost 2 years. Damian, nobody liked. Very few people liked him. And as the story, right before Damian died, yeah, we started to get that feeling of, okay, I could like Damian at some point. Damian's trying. But now we find out in this book that he was taking acting lessons. So, what were the acting lessons for? Was Damian still that little bastard kid that nobody liked, only he was pretending to be nicer? Who knows? Not even Bruce Wayne knew he was going for acting lessons. Why?
Drama much?
I don't know, but I know that Bruce is losing himself, and hopefully Batman will pull himself together soon in this series, or else he's going to lose any ties. Basically, the death in the family was supposed to separate the Bat family, and it did that. But through the Batman and series, the rift is getting bigger because Damian is dead and now Batman wants Damian back. And he's destroying the Bat family to do it. He already destroyed 2 Robins. There's still Nightwing and there's still Batgirl.
Well, you can't kill Nightwing because he's...
They won't kill Nightwing, but next month is Batgirl. I believe the month after that's Nightwing. How much more can he alienate himself from his own family? And Two-Face makes an appearance at the very end of the Batman and
Are you sure they call him Two-Face and not One-Face?
Don't make me hurt you.
Well, that's what they called him in the new DCU.
Alright. And that's it for this week, guys. Sorry I was very vague with certain books. Had to run through them this week. It was such a very busy week for me. I apologize if I left anything out that I should have discussed. I will be looking through these books again. Now, I'll tell you guys, this Wednesday, May 15th, the first episode that me and Brant will be taking over, the related recap, will be up. We're actually, when it comes to podcasts, you know, you always shoot it a couple of days in advance, so this way you get the podcast edited together and whatnot. We will be recording tomorrow night, and it'll be up on Wednesday. The related recap is now up to episode 331, so unless something happens and within the next 3 days another episode is made, we will be taking over at episode 332. It will be myself and Brant Fowler, you know, guy that's with us on Dark Avenger Inc. I'm the guy that's on Dark Avenger Inc. Me and Brant have been doing Hole of Toys, which actually, ironically, this Tuesday as well. Hole of Toys episode 3 comes up.
My first
this boy guest starred in this episode. He'll be guest starring from time to time. He won't be in every episode, but he'll be in a few episodes here, there, and everywhere where it applies. This latest episode applied to you.
Yes.
Especially the topic.
Of the game franchise.
Thank you for spoiling.
Hi. You didn't hear that.
Yeah, you did. So he qualified for the topic, so we had him on for the topic as well as a little bit after, and then Mike left.
Yeah.
But you were a good guest star.
Yes, thank you.
Or guest host, or guest period. You were a guest.
Yeah.
So, Hole of Toys is going up Tuesday. Mine and Brant's first episode of the related recap will be this Wednesday. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 podcasts with your 2 hosts with the most. Mike's my host with the most when we do the comic book rundown and when we do this review. I'm a good co-host.
Yes, you are.
Well, in this case, you're the co-host of my show.
Yeah.
So, I play well with others. I work well on teams.
Even on my side, you're Arcade Team. Like, you're the guest star co-host on my side.
How do we get into this? Anyway, me and Brant have an awesome time doing the podcast every other week with the Hole of Toys. I know we're going to have a blast, especially doing the related recap, because comic books, as much as I love talking about toys and collectibles and stuff, comic books is where the passion begins and where our passion is strongest. So there's going to be a lot more to talk about comic book wise. With the podcast, guys, please on iTunes don't forget to rate and comment on the podcast. Ratings definitely help the shows a lot, especially Zone 4, Hole of Toys, and now the related recap. Your ratings mean the world to us, as well as your comments. Hole of Toys, as well as the related recap, also have a forum on comicrelated.com. Any questions, comments, things you'd like to hear us discuss and or review, if you have a product for board games, video games, toys, or comics that you would like to have us review, contact us also on those forums, or you can contact us on through Zone 4 or Comic Related, whichever of the two work best for you. Or you can contact us on my channel here, Dark Avenger C86. You can contact Brant himself on comicrelated.com. There are several ways you can get into contact with us. You can even contact us through Dark Avenger Inc.'s Facebook if you so wish to. So, there are a lot of ways to get in touch with us. And that's it for this week, guys, before I start rambling on even further into this. There was no Friday haul this week because we shot the free comic book day haul. However, it got messed up on the camera. So instead of doing the Friday haul with the free comic book day haul, I'm going to reshoot the free comic book day haul instead of doing the Friday haul. So I apologize that the Friday haul didn't make it up this week. The camera screwed it up with the free comic book day haul. So this episode is going to go up. The free comic book day haul is going to probably go up before or after this. And we'll all be Happy Gilmore. And unfortunately, we lost out on the Friday haul this week. Next week, it'll be back for 9 comics. So let's get through this. Let's run down everything. And we'll probably be talking about a couple of these books again tomorrow on Wednesday's related recap, so don't forget that. Batman issue 20, awesome, definitely check it out. Batman and Red Hood issue 20, really good, check it out also. Justice League of America 3, I recommend it.
Yep, great issue, definitely recommended.
Superboy 20, interesting read, I'm definitely sticking with the series. Green Lantern Corps issue 20, don't read it until after Green Lantern 20 if you don't want spoilers. If you don't mind spoilers, then it was a really good book. I enjoyed the Guy Gardner aspect of the book, especially since Guy Gardner is exiting. Smallville issue 13, really good, a must-have for Smallville fans, a must-read. Uncanny Avengers issue 8 with the cover that's fading away, pretty good. I definitely recommend it, as well as Thor, God of Thunder issue number 8. Wolverine issue 3, we'll see how this story arc ends, but I'm enjoying it thus far. Wolverine can't keep his shirt on for an entire issue yet. Deadpool issue 9, I'm 1 issue away from dropping it. Hopefully Deadpool will pick up. It's a twice-a-month book now. I can't afford the twice-a-month book. That's just going to be like, even if it's $2.99. Iron Man 258.1 and 2. If you're a fan of the older Iron Man, or if you're just hard up for an older story or a more close to home Iron Man story, definitely something to check out. Up to you guys, as well as Iron Man issue 9. I leave it up to you guys. So far I'm enjoying it. We'll see where the next issue goes. Next week's issue number 10, so we'll see where issue 10 goes. Mega Man issue 25, I'm loving this series.
Awesome.
This is a sellout series so far. You can't find this on Midtown at least anymore, so definitely check it out. Also, speaking of checking stuff out, don't forget to check out comicrelated.com for all your comic-related news, reviews, a whole bunch more. Related Recap is there. Hall of Toys is there. Zone 4 is there. We got game news. We got TV news, movie news, comic book news, of course, first and foremost. I will have a review up for a comic book that's coming out this Wednesday, I believe. I believe it's coming out this Wednesday, and it is a really good book, and for those of you gaming fans, you're going to like it. So definitely check out Comic Related tomorrow for that review. My digital comic review will be up for the books that are released next Wednesday, probably towards the end of this week coming in, probably around Thursday, Friday. Take care, everybody. Also, don't forget to check out DarkAvengerInc.com. Right now, it takes you to our YouTube channel. We try to give you guys a couple of videos each and every day. We gave you a bunch of videos, myself, Mike, and Cindy, last night on Dark Avenger Inc. We try to give you guys a couple of videos each and every day, so when you come back, you have something new to watch. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and Dark Avenger Inc. Show your support that way. Comments, messages, love them. Likes, dislikes from this week, any kind of questions you have on the books. I don't think you have questions because I haven't gotten a question about a book yet. I've had questions towards me about certain things. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me, absolutely feel free to leave them in the comments below. Comment your best book of the week. My book of the week this week would definitely have to be Batman issue 20. I really did enjoy it, as well as Justice League issue 3, and of course Mega Man was a definite top pick for me. Nothing that really super stood out this week for me. So once again, feel free to comment, likes, dislikes, your favorite books of the week, your picks of the week, your recommendations, what have you. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Hope you guys also enjoy Outside the Pages. Episode 2 is up now. Check it out. So, see you guys next week for another comic review, and see you guys even sooner in another video. And don't forget to check out both podcasts this week. Hall of Toys, episode 3. And Related Recap so far, episode 332. Take care, everybody. See you guys real soon.
Later, guys.